Hello, this is Julie. Today I'd like to show you how I made this cross using Make the Cut software and some shapes. The first shape that I used I got from the Basic Shapes, which is called a block arc. To find it, I just typed in arc under the Find window and double click on the arc to add it to my screen. The next shape I want is a square, so I'll just type in the first two letters in the Find window for the square and double click on that. The other shape I need to make this design I found from the gallery, so I clicked on that to import from gallery, and in the search window I typed in Easter Lily, Lilly, clicked on search and came up with this lily design. So I click on the download button and close that window. So now I have an Easter lily to work with. The next thing I'm going to do is resize these shapes. I'm going to make my arc to be 0.5 inches wide and press enter. That's with the gold lock icon on. And the lily, I think I'll make it 1.5 inches wide with the gold lock icon on. And I need to, this is a very tiny detail that probably would not cut real well at this size. So what I'm going to do is use this shadow layer feature, which was the fourth icon from the right on the bottom, and set the shadow width to 0.02 inches and click on accept. This will thicken the lines a bit to make them a little more manageable. I tried cutting this design at this size and it still had some problems cutting real cleanly without falling apart. So what I did was click on the blackout and select it all and then weld. So this gave me a usable cutting design for creating this lacy effect that I wanted to get. Now for the cross shape itself, I use this square, and I'm going to make this 1.5 inches square, and then I want to make it, let's see, about 6 inches high. So I'm going to turn off the gold lock icon so that I can change the height to 6 inches. I'll type 6 and press enter. And then I'm going to hold Control Shift click so that I get a duplicate and rotate it. Now this I need to be 4.5 inches wide. And now I'm going to hold a shift and click on the other piece and type V to vertically align them. And then I would like this piece to be more in alignment with 1/2 inches. If I change my snapping to 1/2 inch, I can get this to move in precise increments. So I'd like this to be 1.5 inches down from the top. So I'll move my arc out of the way, and now with both of them selected I can type V to vertically align them, and I think I might want this to be maybe 6.5 inches high. That looks better. And you can make your shape to be whatever you want it to be. Once you have it aligned vertically the way you want and the size you want, then you can click on Weld. And now I have the cross shape that I would like to use. In order to make a frame and to make a shape to fit in the frame, I'm going to duplicate this, edit, duplicate, nested duplicate. And I would like to keep this piece as the largest of my duplicates, so I'm going to make a gap of minus 0.1 inch. I'm going to make 2 additional copies. I'm going to duplicate by shadows and make them mitered. That'll keep the corners square. Then I can preview this, and you can see that I've kept my original on the outside, and I've made 2 smaller shapes on the inside, and this is what I need for doing this project. So I'll click on Accept here. The different colors help me to distinguish between the different sizes. So what I'm going to do is select all of these, Control Shift click to duplicate and set them aside in case I need them for later. The first thing I want to do is make the frame. So I'm going to select the center piece, hold a Shift, and select the outside shape and join those. And this gives me a frame to work with. And it leaves the center shape for me to use later. Now I'm going to select this block arc, and because I made it exactly 0.5 inches and my outside shape is 1.5 inches, it should wrap around this evenly. So I'm going to hold the Control key, click on the arc and drag it over the cross. I'm going to turn off my snapping, and I'm going to drag it just till it crosses the outside line and the cursor changes into that square, circle, triangle. Then I'm going to release the Control button, release the mouse, and then I'm going to make some adjustments in the positioning and the number of shapes that I get. So I reduce the repeat count until I get it to be filling up my design, and I'm going to adjust the offset. I've got my vertical alignment at 90%, but I see that it's wrapped around the inside of my design, so I'm going to cancel this. And it really works a lot better if you use a solid shape, so it'd be better to wrap this before you join these together. So I use break to break them apart, and I'm going to select the outside shape, and with it I'll move the inside for a second, holding the Control key, clicking on the arc and dragging it over the outside shape. I can now start my offset at the 0 and increase my repeat until I have the shape wrapped entirely around the bigger shape. So the block arc is now wrapped around 43 times. I have the vertical alignment at 90%, offset at 0, and as you see, these arcs just barely overlap the cross, and I like how that looks, so I'm going to accept that. And when I'd like to weld the paths now, I'll weld them. And now I can select it all and weld the arcs to the cross so that I have one continuous shape. Now I'm going to stack this smaller cross to make the frame. So if I select both and type S, I get the smaller cross in the middle of the larger one, and now I click on join and I get the frame that I need. This is the outside frame, and what I want to do is fill the inside of the frame with this design. So to do that, I'm going to use the medium cross shape that I originally made, because I know that it is slightly larger than the inside of this cross, so that anything that fits this frame will fit the inside of the cross. So this shape that I made earlier, I'm going to now just position and duplicate several times so that the pieces are overlapping each other and slightly overlapping the outer frame. So if I click Control Shift and click, I can drag away another piece. Now what I want to do is slightly overlap this piece with the first one, and do it again. Control Shift, click, and drag. If they don't overlap well, I could flip them. I can rotate the pieces using the corner rotation arrows. I think what I'll do is use the mirror to kind of change it up a little bit. And again, I'm trying to overlap the pieces and overlap the design with the edges of the cross. And maybe I'll get one more. Control Shift click, and maybe I'll flip that one again or mirror it. And if I don't like the effect or the way they overlap, I can rotate. Your design becomes your own as you play with the pieces. Now, I'm going to take this piece, Control Shift click, and rotate 90 degrees to get the piece for this side. Again, I want to slightly overlap the edges. Control Shift click, mirror, and move it to the other side with my arrow key. And when I get these pieces where I want them to be, maybe I can turn it upside down, rotate it, get it where I want it to be, play with the design a little, and get the pieces overlapping the way you would like them. Again, you're the artist, you can make it how you want. And what I'm going to do is hide this background so that I can weld this. What I like to do is make a copy in case I want to change it around a little. Control Shift click and drag it away. And now I'm going to select all of these and just weld them together. Now that I have them welded as a single piece, I can select all of these pieces, make sure they're the way I want them, and then click on the Boolean join at the bottom and select intersect. What this will do is crop my flower designs in the shape of that and size of the original cross shape. So now that I have that piece, I know that it's going to fit inside of this. If I select them both and type S, they will be centered, and I'll make a copy in case I want to change it later. So now that I have them both selected, I'm going to weld together, and now I have a usable design, and I can create this as a topper for a card, or I can add it to a pop-up card, as I have posted in the gallery for the pop-up card studio. And if I don't like the arrangement, or if when I test cut this, if some areas don't cut well, I've retained my individual pieces that I can adjust as I like. I've also retained my frame and my original shapes here so that I can adjust it accordingly. So I hope this has been helpful. You can use this same technique for making a frame out of any shape, decorating it, and adding your own background design. Thanks for watching. Bye.